So I'm starting off by adding the background and just adding a little bit of green water so I can see where the water's going. Taking it right up to the portrait edge, but not going onto the portrait, so that when I put the colour on it doesn't bleed over. So now just going in with that green, and then I'm just going to put a nice layer on and then start building up the colours that I can see in the image. So not being too bothered about marks, just adding layers of colour. So I'm just trying to replicate the colours I can see. Remember that I'm using watercolour, which is transparent, not oil paint, which is what the artist used. So it's just a case of adding layers in the right place. Mixing up sort of a warm green for the back of the portrait. And then adding some of those darker bits. I've redrawn the edge of the collar as well with the black. Okay, so next I'm going to look at the paler skin tone I can see, which is sort of like very bluey yellow, very sort of pale skin tone, not very warm. There's a lot of blue in there. So a nice thin layer of that to start off with, avoiding the eyes and avoiding the teeth, which are white. So using the white of the page. Then adding going in with a little bit of the sort of greeny blue tone that I can see. So adding a bit more of that. So Klimt seems to use lots of blues and greens in his face. And a lot of the skin tones are very, very pale. There's loads of different colours in there though, so you need to look really carefully. So adding that sort of greeny tinge on the chin. So putting the colour on and maybe taking a bit of water and softening it out. Also using my tissue to blot away any excess. Trying now to put in the eye sockets, which have got like a strange warm brown colour, which I did struggle to make to find the right tone. I had to redo it a couple of times. And then trying to replicate the cheek colour. You can see I dab it off with the tissue. It's a strange warm brown colour. And then putting that colour on and then just quite simply using a dry brush to spread that colour out. And spread a bit onto the nose and the lids. Still trying to get that cheek colour right. So adding detail into the eyes and painting the blue of the eyes first and then allowing that to dry before I do anything else. Okay, next for the lipstick, which is a nice orangey colour. And when I paint the lips, I'm using, to create the highlight on the lips, I'm just using the white of the paper. So basically not painting anything where the lip highlight is. And then it's just a case of going back in and noticing any other colours in there. I did realise sort of quite early on that my initial drawing was incorrect and the angle of the head is incorrect, so I'm therefore never going to get it looking exactly the same. But at this point you just go with it and you just do your best. So the finished outcome obviously will look like a version, my response. This is why I'm an art teacher and not a master forger. So I've added in the some details like the eyebrows, the pupils in the eyes. Now just sort of putting that the inner eyelid colour and the shadows again, just trying to tweak those colours on the face to get them a bit more accurate, giving the nose a bit of dimension and trying to add a little bit more dimension to the face. Just using very thin layers of colour. And remember, you can always take away anything with watercolour by getting a clean brush, a little bit of water, and then a tissue and dabbing it off. So then I'm sort of happy with the face, so I'm just going to redraw the hair to try and get that shape. This is where I did actually try to tweak the angle of the head a bit, but it didn't work, so I sort of took that out again. So just putting that hairline in. And then adding the highlight in the hair, which is like a nice pale blue, so blue and white mixed together. Also at the back of the bun, there's like a maroon colour, just a reflection in the hair. And I also use this colour to create the pattern on the top. So still tweaking, still playing around with colours, trying to get the a bit more dimension, the shadows around the eyes. And then drawing in the pattern and the shadows that I can see. Redrawing that collar, I realised that I'd got the wrong, it wasn't quite there. And then adding some bluey greys in there, some warmer tones, just to try to replicate the top, which is very painterly, so I'm not really too bothered. Klimt's clothes are always more pattern based, so I'm not going to be a slave to that, just sort of get the same effect. Just softening out that blue I put into the hair as well. Then I started to add in the greeny blue colour for the shadows on the top to soften all of it out. It was a little bit harsh, that line. And then a little bit of yellow and white to create that little bit of yellow on the top. Here again, I'm trying to change the shape of the face a little bit, but I don't think it was salvageable. Just doing the best I can at this point. Adding a bit more, maybe a bit more tone to the underneath of the nose. And then trying to sort out the jawline as well. Okay, so a little bit more tweaking. And then, yeah, I just decided to keep going on it to correct that top a little bit. Soften out that black line as well. Just can't leave things alone. Darkening up the eyebrows now. Adding a bit of dimension to the mouth. A little bit of shadow. Yeah,